Well, yes, what truly amazing girl. You don't often see a girl like that. I mean, it took me a minute to work out what had happened there. I thought it had actually gone out, but it apparently been in mid-air when he kicked the ball, and it went past the goalie into the goal, which is absolutely amazing, as he projected himself over the side of the line. So it took me a second to actually work out what had happened, and the man really knew his craft. Absolutely fantastic. But when we look at how clever that man was and how he managed to get that goal in, we as a people have to look at where we are and see whether we can get ourselves back into that goal. At the present moment, we seem to be lost. We seem to have lost our way. America is sort of in serious trouble, and all they can do is think of increasing taxes, and the British government is in trouble, and the British economy is in trouble, and the pound and dollar are both in trouble. Each one looks like they're going to disappear from the international market. The people who are using them are wanting them to get off the international market. We've got to get back into the gold mouth ourselves and start getting in control, not be like that girlie who didn't even know what had happened. The girlie did, he just looked there like me in the first instance. He didn't even realize the thing was in the goal. We, in actual fact, have got to get our ball into that goal. And we have a wonderful example in the past from Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, who both lowered taxes dramatically to get the economy going. And one man last night suggested that on TV because it's such a dramatic new thought. The way to destroy our economies and hold everything down is by rules, regulations, and taxes. And that is why, quite frankly, as a nation, the British nation do not need any more rules and regulations to be imposed by a slave-matic Europe that is absolutely constipated with rules. I mean, most people don't even realize they've passed 200,000 laws. And to allow our leaders like Brown and Blair to get away with this absolute treachery, handing us into Europe without a referendum to the British people, it's different to any other thing that's gone on, because Parliament to Parliament we're supposed to be able to change rules and laws. Now apparently this is almost life for life as far as they're concerned. And that is nonsense, because that should have been gone to the British people. It's completely different to other laws and things that have been going on, because laws can be changed from Parliament to Parliament. That is such an important thing that they've done, to hand us into a corrupt Europe. I mean, really, we are, Europe, according to its own auditors, not according to me, according to their own auditors, 95% of the budget is missing. Britain pays in 14 million a day. That's 14 billion a year, and they've just come and asked for more, and we've given them more. But if 95% of the money that we give them is unaccounted for, what on earth do they need more money? Get their accounting right. Find out what's happened to the money they've spent. In one particular check-up by some MEPs who got 185 signatures, they got the right to check something out, and when they got into it, they found there was no accounting at all. Millions and millions had been given to the Palestinians for good works, which proved to be actually for arms, etc. But there was no audit trails at all anywhere, and that's why the auditors of Europe have refused to sign off the books for 14 years in a row. That means that we, the British, have given 14 times 14, which is 196 billion, of which 95% apparently is unaccounted for. And I will say missing, ... stolen, ? Now, that isn't only for us. There's 27 other members, and if you took the 27 other members, that amounts to trillions that is apparently missing. This is unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. And the 200,000 laws, well, nobody's read them. And isn't that what caused the American Revolution? That's what caused the American Revolution. It was the fact that George III passed laws, and representative laws of the American people. They passed them in London and weren't represented in America. The same thing's happening in Europe. They passed 200,000 laws which MEPs had no time to read, and they'll tell you that. The people in London just sort of stamped them through. So these have not been discussed and worked out to the interests of the British people. This has been worked out to a grouping which is 80% Catholic, which has been dominated by dictatorships for centuries. They have no democratic background, and our people have, going back thousands of years. even before this nation, our people were in another spot where it was a democracy. So we, in actual fact, have got this democratic thing going for a long time. And we've handed ourselves into an 80% dominated organization that is being dominated by dictatorships. They do not understand the concept of democracy. I mean, a couple of years ago, they were just dictatorships. And these people do not understand standing up and querying people. So when Hanan and Farage get up, the people look at them with hostility because they're actually questioning the rulers, for goodness sake. But that is not what we should be worrying about. We should be bringing them to account. But that is not what has ever happened in Europe. And so it's about time we as people in this country brought these rulers to account. And maybe it's about time in the coming election we took on the example of Oliver Cromwell. And what did he say? He says, "High time for me to put an end to your sitting in this place, which you have dishonoured by your contempt of all virtue." Now talk about, you can say, contempt for democracy, our rules, our laws, our regulations, and for the people by ignoring the fact that they have known, and that's why they won't hold a referendum, for years that 75% of the British people demand a referendum and are very unhappy about it, and they've gone ahead and done all this without our permission. "And defiled by your practice of every vice, ye are a factious crew, and enemies to all good government," he said. "Ye are a pack of mercenary wretches," and that's true, isn't it? They take money from anyone. They're paid. Lobbyists and all sorts of things are paying them, and would, like Esau, sell your country for a mess of pottage, and, like Judas, betray your God for a few pieces of money. Is there any single virtue now remaining amongst you? Is there one vice you do not possess? Ye have no more religion than my horse. Well, that's about true. I mean, a lot of these people are completely atheistic, and therefore they do not have any moral compass, because thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt honour thy father and mother does not enter into their concept. So their moral compass is what they think is right, and it's not what we think is right, the people. And so by casting aside our beliefs in our God, we have encouraged this type of person to come into our parliament who think it's right to take money whenever they want to. Then he goes on to say, "Is there one vice you do not possess? You have no more religion than my horse. Gold is your God." We know that. We've seen it. We've seen it in European Parliament. The corruption there is astounding. And besides the BBC, they had the German radio TV station there, counting the corruption there. "Which of you have not bartered your conscience for bribes? You're grown intolerably odious to the whole nation." That is true. We want to get rid of this government. And, of course, the Conservatives also proven themselves to be unreliable. "You were deputed here by the people to get grievances redressed, and yourselves gone. So, take away that shining bauble there, and lock up the doors in the name of God, go." And, that is true. We want them gone. I don't support any of these parties, Lib Lab Con. I don't really support any of the others, quite frankly, but I think this country had better actually start looking at BNP, UKIP, and independents especially, and put these people in who have no axe to grind, who do not lie in party brochures telling them what they're going to do, and then walk off and follow the party rule. They tell us one thing and go off and do the other. We must, in actual fact, get our country back. Thank you very much for listening.